certified Microsoft partner. We hold all 6 solution partner badges, which is shown in the bottom center of the screen there. We have a number of advanced specializations shown over on the right, and we are a Microsoft expert MSP. Most important of all, we do Microsoft technology and the Microsoft cloud only. We do not do anything else. Andrew and I are part of the app innovation practice, which deals with everything to do with app development in Microsoft Tech and the cloud, including things like app modernization, those kind of things. However, there are many other practices within the Transparency organization, including the Azure practice, modern work practice, data and AI practice. There's a BizApps practice, Dynamics, and cybersecurity practices. In other words, we've got a very broad coverage of everything to do with Microsoft Tech and Azure. And not only that, we specialize only in that particular area of expertise. Andrew's going to be delivering today's webinar, so I'd like to hand over to Andrew now. Over to you, Andrew.
All right, so next slide, please. So everyone, I apologize. We're having some presentation issues, and that's going to kind of affect the plan that we have for today. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started, and we will adjust as we need it going forward. So good morning, everyone. Again, thank you for.
Sorry to stop you before you start. I have just made you a presenter, so you should be able to do the demo now.
All right, so let's see if we can switch into that without any changes here. So present in Teams. Okay. All right. So let me give me a minute here to readjust my windows, and then we should be ready to go. I apologize for that.
Yeah. Thanks, Andrew. Apologies for the hiccup.
All right. So let's get to where we were. Okay. So the confirm everyone can see the agenda there. All right. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about what is Microsoft DevBox, how it works, and the benefits of Microsoft DevBox, and then have a demo configuring and using Microsoft DevBox, followed by some additional resources and next steps. So let's go ahead, though, and get started with a short video from Microsoft. All right, then just to recap, Microsoft DevBox is an Azure service designed for developers, providing self-service access to pre-configured, project-specific, high-powered developer boxes managed by Azure policies, ensuring security and compliance. All right, so how does it work? First of all, there's the developer portal where developers will go to get access to their dev boxes. They'll go to devbox.microsoft.com. And from there, if they have projects or more than one project, they would select the project that they want to go to. And then within that project, if they haven't added one yet, they can add a new dev box to be deployed and ready for them to use. And if they've already created one, then they can manage that dev box in the portal by doing some things like hibernating it, shutting it off, a few management functions directly from the portal. But then finally, they can connect to that machine over RDP or even just a browser. And the nice thing about it is that there are no IP whitelisting or VPNs to worry about. Azure handles all the complexity of providing a just-in-time secure connection to that dev box. And if you've had to do any of this in the past and making sure that the environments were ready for a developer to be able to connect to a dev box, you'll understand that complexity and this benefit here is really, really wonderful. So that's where where do you set up and configure the dev boxes that you want to make available and to which users you want to make it available for? Well, you do that in a dev center. So a dev center is just a container to hold the specific setup or configuration of your dev boxes, and you can even have multiple dev centers if you need it. And with a dev center, you further organize things by projects. Projects are where you assign users and groups so that they can access the dev boxes. And then each project contains dev pools. Dev pools are just a combination of a dev box definition, which is what describes the development workstation that you're providing to your users, and then the network connection, which is the network context in which those workstations will be operating. So dev centers also have environments. We're not really going to talk about them today because they're really not directly related to dev boxes, but please do look into them because what dev boxes are doing for development machines, environments are doing for deployment environments. Another way to look at this is by the roles that are involved in this process. So some of you may have multiple people in each of these roles, and some of you may just have one or two people doing all of these roles, but it really doesn't matter. It's for teams of all sizes. So platform engineers can manage dev boxes with Microsoft Intune and Microsoft Endpoint Manager to do the security, networking, and handle organizational policies and that kind of stuff that needs to happen for these machines. And then your dev team leads can create projects and pools of dev boxes that are tailored to the projects and tasks and customize it to empower the developer experience. And then finally, developers can just hop onto the developer portal and get started quickly and can focus on writing great code for amazing applications. So let's talk about the benefits of Microsoft DevBox. First of all, these are cloud-based workstations. There's no hardware to manage. Azure takes care of it all. And you have powerful configurations at your fingertips. Developers can put the right dev box in place for the right job. And you can work from anywhere. And when we say work from anywhere, we don't mean the traditional work from everywhere that we've been accustomed to for a while, which is bringing your laptop with you. This is really working from anywhere because you don't even have to bring your laptop. Traditionally, your laptop would contain all the code as a developer that you were working on. And so if you needed to go someplace, you still had to take your laptop. Well, with Microsoft DevBox, that isn't the case because all your code, all your applications, everything they're using, they're all in the cloud. All you need is an internet connection. So let's move on to accelerated onboarding. So onboarding a developer is fully automated. You just configure it and get it set up and the developers are just ready to go. They just hit a button, spawn up a new deployment, and they have a dev machine and it's configured just the way that you want it with everything that they need. And you can configure it by workload, by role, by project, whatever works best for your team. However you need to set it up, you can configure dev boxes to meet that need. Another great thing is parallel work, the ability to have multiple dev boxes for each developer and have them all running at the same time, one for each project or workload or whatever it is you want. However you need to separate them, you can have them multiple multiple machines and they'd be running at the same time. And you can easily switch between one and the other. And this is really helpful for not losing context. As a developer working on a laptop, I would often, have all the programs and files and everything open for one project. And then I needed context switch. Usually I would involve, closing down some of those applications and programs and then opening up a whole new set. And so there was some time involved there. With DevBox, you don't need to do that. You really just have these RDP or browser sessions, and you can just swap over to the new one and leave everything. When you swap from one to the other, you can leave everything as it was, and it's there when you get back. And this is also really helpful for project isolation. You can imagine trying to run in a development environment on your local machine and you have multiple projects running. There may be some conflicts with the configuration of software or other things on that same dev box. If you have these applications and these development environments split between different dev boxes, then you reduce those possibilities of conflicts. All right, let's move on to customization. So with customization, you start off with pre-configured images from the Azure Marketplace. The Azure Marketplace gives you quick access to various images, including images that are pre-configured with productivity tools like Visual Studio, Office, and Microsoft Teams. Or you can start with one of your own images. Azure Compute Gallery enables you to store and manage a collection of custom images. You can build an image to your dev team's exact requirements and store it in the Compute Gallery. And in addition to that, Microsoft also has a project called Windows DevBox Setup Scripts, which allows you to, after you've deployed the image, to run a set of scripts, which can include things like Chocolatey, which is a package manager for Windows, which can deploy additional software and configurations. So you really have a choice between kind of hard coding your development environment into an image, or having configuration scripts that can run more dynamically to continue to build out your dev box the way that the developers need it. That includes doing things like taking the project repositories and having them already on the dev box when the developer deploys it. So they don't have to worry about going through that process of downloading all the code for the application. And that also includes a new feature within Visual Studio, which allows you to take some of the pre-cached stuff that Visual Studio does that can oftentimes make an initial load of Visual Studio a little bit longer. You can also put that in the image or download it through the configurations and make that available so that the initial load for a developer is fast and seamless. All right, let's move on to cost efficiency then. So Microsoft DevBox really has two pricing models, but it's really kind of one. They have a consumption-based pricing model where you basically only paying for what you use. You pay for the consumption compute for any time the DevBox is running, and then you pay for storage for the disk or the image that's being stored. So if you have a DevBox shut off, you're not paying for it, and there's a new hibernation feature that's in preview that you don't even have to completely shut down a box. You just put it in hibernation and you're not paying for it during that time as well. And with that, though, if you're concerned about having a predictable monthly pricing, there's a predictable monthly price. And the really nice thing about it is you really don't have to pick between the two. Essentially, the consumption-based pricing model will only go up to a max monthly cost, which is the same as a predictable monthly price. So you know what the maximum is you're going to pay. And the other thing is that you have a dev box that has quotas. You have quotas for your dev boxes so that you can set a number of dev boxes that can be created by the developers, hence also being able to control your costs there. One thing I do want to note, though, because I know some people are going to ask this, so what about user licensing? To use Microsoft DevBox, each user must be licensed for Windows 10 or 11 Enterprise, Microsoft Endpoint Manager, and Azure Directory P1. In addition to being available independently, these licenses are included in Microsoft 365 A3, A5, E3, E5, F3, Business Premium, and Education Student Use Benefits subscriptions. Also, currently, you can't use guest accounts. However, we do believe that this will be coming soon, coming in the future for Microsoft DevBox. All right, and finally, security and compliance. Microsoft DevBox has all the security and that you would expect, from MSA to conditional access and all those other things, and as well access is controlled through Microsoft Entra, so you can set access controls based upon users and groups, and there's centralized management with Microsoft Intune and Endpoint Manager. All right, so I think we're ready for a demonstration. Let me see if I can go ahead and switch on over to my machine here. All right, so you should be seeing this is my Azure portal connection over here. And I'm in Azure portal. I've set up a lot of this ahead of time, but I'm going to show you how I did it. And I did that just to save time in our demo here. So as we talked about, the first thing that you're going to need for Microsoft DevBox is the Development Center. So I'm here in a resource group that I've created for the webinar. And you can see I have a dev center here called DevBox, but it's really easy to go ahead and create a dev center. I'm just going to go here in the bar, search for dev centers and click it. You can see the one I've already created there. I'm just going to go ahead and create. I'm going to choose the subscription and resource group. And here, really, I just have to give it a name and a location. There's really nothing else to provide. Like I said, the Dev Center is really just a container that holds everything. So it's really nothing to go ahead and set one up. I'm going to go ahead and close that. And then we're going to close this as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and go to the DevBox Dev Center that I've created already. So once you have your Dev Center, a few other things you need to set up. First of all is your projects, and you can see here, that Azure is kind of giving you a hint as to what needs to happen next here. So we're going to define projects. I'm going to go here to projects. You can see I already have one, but again, creating a project is very straightforward and simple. You pick your subscription. The resource group is already selected because I'm in it, and I'm selecting the Dev Center. Again, just giving it a name, and I can give it a description. And the only other option here that you have is to set, do you want to have DevBox limits or not? I'll go ahead and set it to 3 here. But this is not even something you need to do here. You can do this after you've set up the project. So really all you're giving is the project a name and connecting it with the Dev Center. So we'll go ahead and close that off, and then we'll go ahead and go into, we'll go back to the overview here. So there we've set up a project. So again, the other things we need are the DevBox definitions and the network connections potentially. So let's go to DevBox definitions. And again, these are really straightforward to do. You can see I've created 3 already, but I'll just go ahead and go through this process. Again, give it a name. In this case, we're going to go ahead and pick, in this case, we're using the Azure Marketplace. And you can see the available configurations that I can start from here. And then here are some gallery images that are also available. So I basically pick the base image that I want to start from. And like I said, it can continue not just the operating system, but applications and other things that you want to be already built into that image. I can pick the version. I'm going to pick latest, and then you define how much compute you want to give to this machine. And then you have 3 options here. I'm going to go ahead and pick the lowest one right now, and then how much storage you want for this machine. And again, I'm going to pick the lowest here. So really, this is the area that you have to just define this definition, and you can have multiple definitions. I'm going to also enable hibernation, which is in preview, like we talked about. And so really the choice is just, the base image that you want to go start from, compute, and storage. I'm going to again hit cancel because I've already created 3 of those. And then we're going to go also to back to the overview and talk about networking. Now, Microsoft does have the capability to connect directly through a Microsoft network, and so you don't have to have networking set up. But if you want these developer boxes to be participating in some of your networks or things like that, then you can set up networking. And the way that you do that here is you first need to have a network connection, which is something that's outside of the Dev Center. So we're going to go ahead and type in network to get network connections. You can see again that I have one. I'm going to go ahead and create one. Again, it's just picking the subscription resource group, giving it a name. And in this case, you're just choosing the virtual network that you want this network connection to participate in. And thus the developer machines that are created are going to be part of this network, and so that you can set up security and all those things based upon the virtual network there again. So, all right, so let's go back here to everything. So we've set up our projects and defined the developer definitions for the dev boxes and the networks. And then the other thing here then is just to go into your projects, select a project. And within a project, like I said previously, you could always change the limits if you want. So here I had previously set this to 3. I could change this to 4 as the limit that dev boxes that a developer can create. And then the other thing here is just managing your dev box pools. Again, these are just ways of organizing the dev boxes that you want to make available to your developers. I chose here to create a dev box pool for each of the types of dev boxes that I have available. And you can see here that I have one basic dev box created and one powered box dev box created. That's the total number of dev boxes that are currently deployed. So to create those dev pools, though, you just hit create, again, give it a name, and then you're choosing the definition that you developed earlier. I'm going to go ahead and pick basic here, and this is where you select which network you want the dev boxes to participate in. I'm just going to hit deploy to Microsoft hosted network, and then the user, when they get on the machine, you want them to be a local administrator or a standard user on the box. I'm going to keep that at local administrator. And then there's an auto stop feature, which allows you to set up a task that if a dev box is running at a certain time, it's going to automatically shut that down to help you control costs. And so you can set that time in here. One of the nice things from the developer portal, which I should be able to show you, is that if developers working late or something, they can go ahead and overwrite that for a particular day and not have the dev box shut down at that particular time. And then we talked earlier about the licensing required here. You're just confirming that you have those available licenses. And then that's all it takes to create a dev box pool. All right, so that's most of the prerequisites done of everything you need to do to set up the environment for your developers. So we're going to go ahead and jump to the developer portal. And I'm going to sign in again because it's been a minute since I've been on that page. So this is what you see when you come to a dev box. I've already been on here and I have deployed 2 dev boxes. And if I had other projects, you would see them listed here. I only have the one project, so you're not seeing it listed. But to create a new box, all the developer does is they click on new dev box. They give it a name from the dev box, and then from the pools that you've made available to them, which we saw, the basic, power, and standard, I can pick which kind that I want. I'll go ahead and pick standard here, and it says that hibernation is supported on this one. And you'll see here that dev box creation can take between 25, it takes 25 minutes on average, but can take longer. And we'll go ahead and just hit create to spin one off. Obviously, we don't have time today to wait for it to deploy and get built up. But once the dev boxes are created and available, all that a user needs to do is to, first of all, let me show you here the options that they have for managing an existing dev box. So this is a power dev box that I created, and you have the ability to shut it down, restart it, delay scheduled shutdown. You can troubleshoot and repair, you can delete it, and you can get more info on that dev boxes. But the real thing that most things the user will be doing is connecting to it. You do have the option to open it in a browser, but because of time, I'm not going to do that today. We're just going to open with an RDP client. So this uses the new remote desktop application from Microsoft. So it gives you the opportunity to download it here if you don't have it already. The new desktop remote desktop application has the ability to configure things like what screens you want the remote desktop to show on. So it supports multiple screens, a lot of other options there. So you can configure those ahead of time the first time. Otherwise, you just go ahead and connect to the dev box. So we'll go ahead and do that now. And then over in my other window here, it should pop up. And this is integrating with Windows Hello, which is on this machine here. So I just need to put in my machine and my PIN. And as you can see here, now it's starting remote desktop. And so it should be spinning that So the machine is already started there. I'm just connecting to it. It was over on another screen. I'm just bringing it over to this screen. All right, so there I am. I'm on that Power Dev box that I created. I'm going to go ahead here and sorry, I apologize for that. My other desktop is showing there. Let's just open it from here. So I'm opening Visual Studio. You're not seeing the taskbar here from this machine because my local machine is overriding it for some reason it didn't do before. That's what a demo is for you. All right. The Visual Studio. I think we saw that start up, didn't we?
We did, yes.
Yeah. Okay. We switch over here and back over to here. Oh, there we go. Okay, so Blazor application. So this is just a demo application that was there, and I just wanted to show you that this is a full box and can run applications. So I'm going to go ahead and run this application locally. And this is a simple Blazor app. I'm just going to go ahead and move it over here to the right and go back here and just show you running on a dev box. And if I save that using hot reload, you should see that update over here in a second. And you should see that updating over here in a second. Yeah, it was working before. But anyway, we'll go ahead and just refresh it. There it is. There's that change. So anyway, that is my demo of Microsoft DevBox and how it works. We're going to go ahead and stop sharing here now and go back to our presentation. So let's go to the presentation here and we're going to say present in Teams again. All right, we're going to resume back to where we were. All right, so additional resources. Let me see if I can copy these into the chat, and I can't from there. So let's just go here and copy it from here and paste it into the chat here. All right, so yeah, so the additional resources, Microsoft DevBox, obviously on their website, and documentation on learn.microsoft.com. And there's a quick start to configure Microsoft DevBox available there, or basically just ask your favorite AI assistant or Copilot, and they'll get you the information you need. So again, I'm going to go ahead and turn this now back over to Jeff and see if we have any questions to answer or what the next steps are.
There aren't currently any questions in the chat, which is great. However, if any of you do want to get in touch with us regarding what the best licensing model would be for you with respect to DevBox, or you do want further guidance or a proof of concept putting together for DevBox to help you get going, or you have any questions, then please just get in touch with us. And Susie's just started a poll, which basically you can enter so we can get in touch with you regarding those two things. Other than that, it's 11:33, so I'd like to say thank you very much for listening and joining our webinar. Thanks very much to Andrew for presenting all of basically Microsoft DevBox in 30 minutes. Yeah, which is a challenge in its own right, but there you go. I hope you've got a good idea what it can do for you. And to be honest with you, this is all part of the cloud strategy. We develop applications for the cloud, so we should develop the applications in the cloud for the cloud as well. And Microsoft DevBox is a key part of that. It helps you basically develop in the cloud for the cloud. Thank you very much and have a good day, everybody.